I'm Jolene Wynn, and this is the Porn Addict's Wife podcast, episode number 247. If you just want him to reassure you that what you believe is correct. If your husband is struggling with a pornography problem and you want some help with it and you are not finding the resources that you like, you are in the right place. My name is Jolene Wynn. I am a certified life coach. I am an active member of the LDS faith, and I am the wife of a former porn addict. And on this podcast, I am going to share with you the tools that you need in order to start your healing journey. This is where I'm going to show you how to dive deep into intentional living, how to rekindle connection with your spouse, how to manage all that emotional turmoil that you're feeling, how to break the addiction cycle that you have to your husband's addiction, and tell you all of the ways to do that and start healing. I am so glad that you're here, and I can't wait to get started. Let's go. Good morning, my ladies. How are you? I hope you guys are having a great Monday. I think it's President's Day, right? Happy President's Day. I don't know if any of you guys are doing anything fun. Maybe your kids are off school. My kids are homeschooled, so it's pretty much a regular day. We have piano lessons on Mondays, and that's just how our regular day goes. This is when I do my one-on-one clients. I love Mondays. Mondays is when I get to do all my one-on-one clients. So for those of you who guys want to work with me one-on-one, I still have some spots left for that. You come join my program, and then we can add on additional private one-on-one coaching. This is where you and I get on the phone for an hour every single week, and we dive into your brain, and we dive into whatever you feel like is keeping you stuck. I have 3-month or 6-month packages. I have clients doing both right now, and it's really an opportunity for you to just dive deep into whatever's keeping you stuck so that you can have the breakthrough that you're looking for. And I would love that for you. So I will put the link in the show notes so that you guys can sign up. That would be so fun, and that would be us on Mondays. Or if Mondays didn't work for you, we could figure out a way around it, okay? And that's my Monday, and it's going to be amazing. Also, this is, ladies, I'm so excited to let you guys know that the couples course, Porn-Free Marriage, is now live for enrollment, and I'm very excited about it. I do already have several spots that have been taken. I think as of the time that I'm recording this, 4 spots are taken. There's only 6 left, and I have had several people email me about this. I'm only taking 10 couples through this first cohort, and we start next week, the week of the 24th, February 24th. That is the week that we begin it. It's going to be a 6-week program, and we will do calls live every Thursday. I did an episode all about it last week. You guys can go listen to just the previous episode where I talk about how to have a porn-free marriage and what this course is all about, what the focus is. And I've had a lot of questions about it that I'll just address real quick right here. Number one, some of the gentlemen are a little worried or nervous, I guess I should say, because they've never done coaching before. They're curious about it. If you want to come anonymously, you totally can. If you want to leave your camera off, you can. If the wife wants to be in camera and the husband wants to just be off camera, it's totally fine. This is for you in whatever comfort level you are in. Most of this is going to be on your own. You're going to be consuming pre-recorded videos. You're going to be doing worksheets and exercises together as a couple. And then once a week on Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we will have a group Q&A coaching call where you can come and get help from me with whatever you're struggling with that week, get clarification, get help with whatever you guys need help working on. So this is all designed for you, so it doesn't have to be as scary as you think it is. And the other thing that I wanted to address is I've had so many women reaching out and saying, okay, is this for me if my husband is still struggling with porn? The answer is yes. Is this for me if my husband is done and we're actually in a really good place? Absolutely. Anytime you intentionally work on your marriage, it can only benefit you. At any point in whatever phase you are, as long as the two of you are interested in working together to move forward, this is a really beautiful opportunity for you. I actually wish I could require all of you guys to take it because it's just such a great opportunity for the two of you to sit down and kind of force you to take a look at the things that are easier to ignore, but the longer you ignore them, the more problems they create, okay? And my whole purpose in this is to help you guys create a solid foundation where not only are you working together toward the same goal, but you also have all the tools to do it. And the crux of this is learning how to do it in such a way that you get to have a porn-free marriage and start fighting it on purpose rather than just reacting to it the rest of your life. And if that sounds like something you want, then sign up today. It's just $397 for both of you to join for all 6 weeks, and you get 12-month access to the video replays. So go ahead. I'll put the link in the show notes. I would love to have you join us. I wanted to talk today about something that came up this week on a coaching call with one of my clients, and something that's come up several times. And it reminds me of an episode I already did. Maybe a year ago, I did one that said, if you want reassurance, and I talked all about what reassurance is and how it's not actually a thing. But I wanted to dive into it from a little bit of a different angle here today, which is if you want him to reassure you so that you can know that what you believe is correct. Now, I have been in this place many, many times where it's like, okay, I think we're okay. Or I think we're here. I think this is the information that I'm working with, but is it correct? Is it right? Am I right? Or am I missing something? Am I not aware of something that's going on? And I just think we're in this place. I think we're doing well, but maybe I'm wrong. And we just want him to reassure us. Now, I am all for reassurance. I am all for him reassuring you as long as you understand that that's not the thing that's going to make you feel better, okay? Obviously, it is still wonderful. I was talking to my client the other day, and I said, I actually did this with my husband last week. I said, look, I just want to make sure that where I think we are is where we actually are. Where I think you are is where you actually are. And he said, yes, here's where I am. This is great. Not struggling with any of these things, not thinking about any of these things, etc. And that was very nice to hear. But I still have to choose to believe him. And that's what I want to offer to you guys today. If you want reassurance from your spouse that what you believe is correct, maybe you believe he's not watching porn, maybe you believe he's not attracted to other women, maybe you believe he is and that he's being honest with you and coming to you when he's relapsing. Whatever it is that you believe, if you want him to reassure you that it's correct, you have 3 choices, okay? Number 1, you can ask him, and that's totally fine. I'm all for you asking him. I just want you to know why you're asking him and make sure you like your reasons. That's it. Okay. This is how my clients always come to me. They're like, okay, well, I think I should do this. What do you think? And I say, it's totally up to you. You just need to know why you want to do it and then like your reasons. And maybe your reason is, I feel really insecure. I don't know where I am right now. And I just want to hear that where I think we are is where we actually are. Great. Do you like that reason? Now, oftentimes we'll have kind of a surface level reason, and we need to actually make sure that we're understanding the deeper reason, the more subconscious reason, just to make sure that we're always being honest with ourselves, which this is where self-awareness really comes into play, which is where coaching can be super helpful because our brain wants to give the logical, responsible sounding answer. It wants to give the answer that sounds better, the answer that sounds like we are doing better than we think we are, etc. So becoming aware of the subconscious, the real answer is very, very important here. But you can absolutely ask him. You can ask him for the reassurance of, hey, I think we're here. Is that where we are? But there's a second part of this, and this is usually what people leave out, which is why we need to bring it up today, is that then you still have to choose to believe him. Because if you are struggling with distrust, if you are not trusting him 100% right now, then even if he tells you exactly what you think or exactly what you want to hear, you can still choose not to believe him. You can still choose to believe that he's just telling you what you want to hear. You can still choose to believe that maybe he's lying to you, or maybe he's just saying something nice so that he doesn't hurt your feelings, or maybe he's just telling you his version of the truth and maybe he's left something out, okay? That is still always an option. You always have the choice after you ask him and ask for reassurance to be reassured. Okay, you have to choose to feel that and believe that. So either way, if you ask him, you have to choose to believe what it is he's going to say. But if you want to ask him, go for it. But don't forget the second part is that you ask him and then you choose whether or not you're going to believe it. Okay, that's how you feel reassured. The second option is that you can check on your own. Okay, I had a client who was talking to me about this. She said, I'm feeling an urge to look at my husband's phone just to make sure that he's not watching something that I don't want him to be watching, and that he's told me he's not watching. So he's already told her that he's not watching it. And she's like, I just want to look at his phone. And I said, you totally can. Okay, but we want to make sure you know why and like your reasons. And she didn't really like her reasons, but she wanted to feel reassured that where she thought they were is where they actually are. And I said, that's totally fine. How do you want to do that? She's like, well, sometimes I'll look at his phone. And I said, yeah, but then you still have to choose to believe what you find on the phone. Okay? So again, same thing. You can look at his phone. You can look at the router. You can, what is it that you do where you like check the geolocation? I don't even know what the things are on his phone to make sure that you're tracking him, right? And his GPS, all of these things. So you can do all the tech savvy things and check, and you can find zero evidence that he's watching anything that he shouldn't be watching. And you can still choose to not believe that he's telling you the truth. You can just choose to believe that maybe he's just gotten better at hiding it, or maybe he wiped his search history, or maybe he's gotten a burner phone or something really sneaky, right? You can choose whatever it is that you want to believe about it. So it's not the evidence that you're going to see that's going to make you feel reassured, okay? So you have one option. You can go ask him about it, but then you still have to choose to believe him. You can look at his phone or do your own super sleuthing, but then you still have to choose to believe what you've found. Or, number 3, you can just choose to believe that where you are is exactly where you think you are. And that's ultimately what you have to do in each one of these scenarios, is you have to choose to believe. Now, if you're not in a position where you want to yet, that's totally fine. As long as you have some distrust toward him, probably very rightly so, then you're not going to want to believe him. There's going to be a lot of resistance to that, and it's totally fine. You do not have to trust him right now, ladies. It's not a problem. I just want you to know that as long as you don't trust him, you're probably going to feel some anxiousness. And with that anxiousness is going to come in your brain a desire to look for evidence to prove that he is not trustworthy. And that's what comes with the desire of wanting him to reassure you, wanting to check the phone, etc. Because your brain is saying, I don't trust this fellow. He doesn't seem like a trustworthy individual. He's hurt me, which he has. And so your brain is treating this as a high alert situation, which is why you feel so anxious all the time. So even if you ask him to reassure you, it's like, okay, I'm feeling anxious and I just want to feel better about this. I just want him to reassure me that, I'm not thinking that we're in a place that we're actually not. Then even if he reassures you, you still have to choose to believe him, okay? And as long as you don't trust him, then him telling you that isn't going to make you feel any better. Okay, so this is an opportunity. If you keep seeking reassurance, it's not only an indication that there could be some distrust of him, there's also an indication that you don't trust yourself. Okay, if you don't know much about trust, there's several podcast episodes you guys can go listen to. One is very early on. It's called To Trust or Not to Trust. There's one called Conscious Trust. There's one called Anxiety and Distrust. And I also have a How to Trust masterclass, which is what I would highly recommend that you do, because I walk you through a series of exercises to help you uncover and understand what trust is and how to rebuild it. And the secret to trusting him again is actually trusting yourself, which is what I deep dive into that masterclass. And that's what the key is here as well, because we think that it's just about trusting him. But in order to trust him, you have to trust yourself to make the decision to trust him. Because usually the reason that we don't trust ourselves to make that decision anymore is, it sounds something like this. I decided to trust him. I got married to him, and then he lied to me behind my back. So now what? Now subconsciously your brain thinks that you can't trust yourself to make the decision to believe that you're okay. Now you don't trust yourself to believe that you guys are actually doing fine, or that your husband is exactly where you think he is, or that you are capable of handling whatever comes up in your future. You don't trust yourself anymore, and so you constantly rely on evidence or on reassurance from your spouse in order to feel better. And if that actually worked, I'd be all for it. However, your spouse and your circumstances do not create your feelings. Your thoughts do. And this is where we need to become aware of the thoughts that you have where you don't trust yourself. Again, these are usually very subconscious, okay? Because normally our logical brain will respond and say, no, of course I trust myself. I'm a very trustworthy person, okay? But subconsciously, most of the time, there's part of you that thinks that, okay, well, I trusted somebody once and they hurt me really badly. So I don't know how to trust again. And what that is saying, I don't trust myself to trust again because I did that once and look how it turned out. Does this make sense? You guys with me? This is deep stuff, okay? Stay with me. You're doing great. So I want to offer to you is that when you want reassurance, what it actually is an indication that you don't have a lot of trust in yourself. And that's what I want to offer that you work through, is that you start making yourself available to the possibility that you can trust yourself, that you have permission to just believe that where you are is exactly where you think you are. And that even if sometime later down the road you find out that there's a different piece of information that you didn't have, it doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. It doesn't mean that you weren't exactly where you thought you were. It doesn't mean that right now you're being naive. And I'm going to go into this in next week's podcast, okay, about naivety, because it's one of our biggest fears. And I want to talk about the difference between naivety and ignorance, okay? Don't worry about it now, okay? But our brain is so worried that we're going to miss something that we end up doing is just creating more anxiety in the present and adding layers of emotional weight that we just don't need. And in fact, it actually makes us so that we can't enjoy the present that we have. So your brain is so conscious, so constantly playing this game of like, well, what if it's actually worse than I think it is? And I want to offer, what if it's even better than you think it is and you're missing it because you're so scared of getting hurt? And it's totally normal. This is how your brain is wired. But this is why it's so important to become in charge of your brain and start controlling your brain, because now you're going to miss out on it. What if everything is actually better than you thought it was? And you're missing it out of distrust and anxiety and out of a fear that you're going to get hurt again. And so you can't even relax in the present. You can't even enjoy the relationship that you do have, the one that you've been waiting for all of this time. You can't even appreciate it and live in it because you're so worried about the future. You're so worried that there's something that you might miss that you can't even relax and appreciate what it is that you have. This is something that this has been fascinating just over the last 9 months or so. My husband has been home and hasn't been working, and it has been so fun. And yet financially, it's been extremely stressful, okay? And it has been something that has been so fascinating as now he's been starting to, apply for jobs again and think about what it is he wants to do. And I find myself so resistant to that. And I have spent the last 9 months, yes, enjoying him home, but also so worried about where we are financially that I have found myself so anxious about the future that I found myself unable to relax so many days when he is home and unable to just appreciate what I have because I'm so worried that it might get taken away. Does this make sense? And I find myself now in the situation where he's going back to work that I find myself so, I don't know what the right word is. It's not upset with myself, but I guess almost regretful that I didn't spend more time just being super present and super grateful and super positive in where we are, even though the finances aren't where we want them to be. But because part of me living in that anxious state missed the present, missed the beauty of us together and having exactly what I wanted for a beautiful 9 months. Does this make sense? And that's what happens in our brain. And that's what I want to offer. We want to avoid and what we can avoid for you. And the way that we do that is we become aware. Here's the 5 steps. You guys ready? Say them over and over again. Step number 1, awareness. We need to become aware of the thoughts and feelings that you have. Step number 2, acceptance. No judgment. No trying to push it away. No trying to talk yourself out of it. Step number 3, process the emotions. Process the anxiety. Process the distrust of yourself and of your spouse, etc. Step number 4 is to choose a new thought. What do you want to think? Do you want to trust him or do you not? Do you want to believe in everything? Do you want to believe in yourself? Do you want to trust yourself? What are the new thoughts you want to have? And you get to choose those on purpose. And step number 5 is to retrain your brain. And that's it. It is a very simple process. It's not easy. It's a lot easier when you have a coach, when you have somebody helping you along. But it is a simple process that's extremely doable. And this is how you get to a point where you can actually appreciate where you are, even if you find out later that where you are isn't where you thought you were. Okay? Everything is figure outable. And you are always allowed to reassure yourself. You just have to trust yourself first and believe yourself. Okay? I love you ladies so much, and I'll see you guys next week on a brand new episode. So take care. All right, my lady, if you love what you're hearing on the podcast and you're ready to take it and apply it in your life to see a true transformation, then I want to invite you to come join my coaching program. Now is the best time because I have just added an annual membership, so you can join for the lowest price ever. Get all the details on my website, joleneWynn.com, and don't forget to sign up for a free consultation call with me today. We'll get on the call, we'll talk about where you are, what you're struggling with, and then we'll see what is the right fit for you and your budget. Again, go to my website, joleneWynn.com, sign up for a call, and I'll see you